Peace and blessings to family. This is your boy Juro. It is Wednesday, 27th of September, 2017. How is everybody doing? First of all, I'm over here working on my place, feeling a little under the weather. But I had something on my heart, on my spirit that I wanted to share. So I'm going to throw this PSA out for just a select few because I understand that there are those that like things the way they are. That's right. There are those that do not understand that there is a shifting in the climate on an economical level, on a social level. But when you sift through all that, it really goes back to a spiritual level. That's right, family. Because the storms are brewing, they're gaining momentum. Some may see the clouds in the sky and they use that as a metaphor of what's going on in their day to day. But I'm here to tell you, don't be deceived. Don't be worried. Stay prayed up, stay grounded, but most importantly, place God first in everything you do. Because this is not going to be your end all be all. It is not, but it is a test. Let me tell you that right off the jump. It is a test and it will define your purpose. It will give you clarity. But none of that can be revealed or released until you make a declaration to commit to the real you. That's right. I'm talking about that little boy and that little girl that still lives inside you, the real you. You know, some of you may have gone through a season where you felt a little awkward because your real voice is coming out, but maybe it is being triggered because of what's been influxed through your day to day. Because you do also understand, family, let me make this clear. You are what you attract. Everything that you do is accounted for. The words that come out of your mouth have a vibration or frequency. Words are powerful. So it's very important that you take responsibility not only in what you convey, but who you are. So the real question that should be asked is, do you know who you are? This is only a question that you can answer. It is not measured by who you know or who you lay with or where you work or what's found in your pocket. Because when the lights are cut off, the doors are closed, the locks are turned, and you are in the sanctum of what or where you find sacred. There's only you. So these last couple weeks, for some may have been very alarming, very disturbing. But you do also know that this is also spiritual. You do know that, right? This is nothing but what I can actually say, what former President Bush said almost 12 years ago. We are dawning the age of the shock and awe. And with that, a lot of things are going to be unstable. A lot of things are going to be acted upon and not spoken upon. That's why it's more important, ever so, that you circle your wagons and what you hold sacred. Because when you decide to do the work, family, your clarity will come. Your breakthrough is right in front of you if you choose to own it. See, I know there's a lot of people think that, well, really life is about what is defined through what you possess. But if you're not possessing you, your spirit, nothing made with man's hands will stand the test of time, because man has never mastered what we know is forever. Anything that man has done has been made temporary. Why? Because man is not God. Maybe that is the reason why now, more than ever, we are in an age where taking the approach of the condescending attitude, or the platform that is lateral, not literal. It is the reflection of what you see outside your door. Follow me, if you will. Think back. There was a time where what was priority, which was your family, was important. Being a good citizen meant something. And yes, the grumblings, the angst, the aches that is found in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you, was shared, but not at the level that it is now. Now, there's a reason why I'm pointing this out. Because first of all, you're not crazy for what you see economically, but more importantly, socially. A game of chess is being played. The question is, on that grand platform of positioning, you will find yourself. Are you the pawn? Are you the puppet? Or are you prepared? Because the opposition, which looks just like you. See, the first thing that you could do wrong is get caught up on the flesh. Because a lot of people fail to realize that the people that don't have your best interest are the people that are found in your circle. That's why you can't find them today. That's why when you picked up that cell phone and tried to make that phone call just to connect, you went to voicemail, didn't you? Who am I talking to? And it made you feel a certain kind of way. Why? From the simplistic level, words have power. That power is emotion. But when you filter through it all, it is still spiritual. So I say this to each and every person that hears my voice. Now more than ever, if you don't have a relationship with God, it's not his responsibility to rescue you in the midnight hour. It's your responsibility to connect with him. Why? Because he created you. You're his child. So why would any person of that magnitude, the Alpha, the Omega, the be all, is all, why would he, who made something so perfect, and in the reward, the breath of life was given, as well as a spiritual seal over you. Why would he forsake you? But see, I understand it because we are being sold a bag of magical beans, so to speak. And there is a trajectory of shifting the way you think, your perceptions. Everybody has perceptions, but what is perceptions without fact? What is fact without ownership? It takes free will. So you can choose to keep the status quo, or you can dig a little deeper and give yourself what you deserve, which requires time, requires investment, and your life will be as it should have been, blessed. There is a trade-off, and I'm not going to make light of it. What is going to happen is there will be those who are connected to you by blood and bone, those that you break bread with, those you associate with, maybe at your job. A spiritual line will be drawn. Now, nothing can keep you from walking with them. Or you can choose to be still. And the reward for that, all that was hidden, all that you did not know, all that brought fear, because you know what fear is. Finally, everything's a reality, and your reality is measured by your state of mind. So if you don't like your reality, change the way you think. Your clarity will come. Your discernment will heighten. And those who did not have your best interest will be revealed. Because it's free will, family. I can show you where the rough spots are in your life, but it's not my responsibility for you to make the choice to adhere. So let me shift gears because I want to bring this out too. There's been a lot of deliberate, opportunist, grandstanding, and downright distraction being pumped into society for anybody that will gladly. And that table is extremely long because that table has a marquee or a label called misery. There's always going to be a chair at that table. It is endless because that table has no accountability. That table has no self-worth, no value. There are endless excuses of coulda, woulda, shoulda. If I only knew. But guess what? You're given the opportunity to see. One of the greatest examples that God gives man is called history. Some people like to joke and say his story, but his story is nothing but man's interpretation of the events and how it has a impact of what's being presented or received. Some of you know it as allegory too. But right now there is an engineering going on in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you, to get you to see life without God's hands in it. Trust man and see how far he will take you. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't place God first in everything you do, you're only going to find a dead end. That road will eventually cut short. That road will always wind, and then there will be a fork for you to decide which way do you go. Do you go to the left? Do you go to the right? Do you go back? Or do you pray? So there's been a lot of chatter trying to consume your time. Have you seen it? You listen to the media. Mind you, media is an interpretation by someone who has control to convey the message. So you have to look at if there's bias there, or what is the ultimate message you're trying to convey? What is the agenda? Why? Why now? Why don't we question that? Because we're too busy being distracted by the melody. Remember the story of the Pied Piper? No, I'm not talking about R. Kelly. The Pied Piper had a tune, and that tune was infectious to the children. And the children listened to the tune and was led away, never to be seen again. Kind of the same thing as the melody of the Ice Cream Man, huh? Doesn't matter how young or how old, you know that sound. And out they come running. Same metaphor, different setting. So right now, you see and hear a lot of bad behavior with people with platforms that don't want to take accountability for the words that come from their mouths. They spew it like waterfalls of negativity. But not one time do you hear someone say, what will God do? Why is that? Because they don't want you to lean upon his understanding and not yours. So right now, we've got this big old uproar, or like I like to say, people are showing their teeth, and it doesn't matter the culture, it doesn't matter the gender, it is still negativity. And what you won't find is God's presence in it. So we can easily say that, yes, devil is working hard. He is lying in the brush to distract you from you. Why? Because he already knows your destiny. He already seen your purpose. And like beautiful breadcrumbs, he is leading the way from your point of view, your state of mind. And so there's a grand attempt to more or less dumb you down. You do understand, family, your cash register is right here. That beautiful mind of yours. And whoever has the influence of it will also have the influence of what you do, what you spend, who you align yourself with. But if they don't have a relationship with God, the outcome will be the same. Disappointment. Now, I say this for a couple reasons. Because I saw this a couple years ago. And I tried to convey this message at least once a year, but I was very adamant about conveying it today because conveying it this year, beginning of the year, because I felt it in my spirit that there was going to be a play. There was going to be a play to attack your self-worth, to attack your self-esteem. And I say that because a lot of people are being bamboozled. A lot of people are being distracted by things that have no merit and will not enhance your life at all. At all. Lock, stock, and barrel. They're coming for your state of mind. So let's talk about current events, right? I know here on social media there's been a lot of people that wanted to put their input on about the tragedy of the girl that lost her life in Chicago. And I really believe in my heart of heart that message that I felt was for her. Just look back at the videos, they're there. And especially the weekend before it all occurred. And listen to what I said. Now, I'm not saying that for credit or accolades, because that's not why I do what I do. But what I do understand now more than ever, excuse me, is that you are going to be, there's going to be a chin check going on when it comes to your faith. There's a lot of people that are saying that they believe in God, but just look at their actions. Just be still. Just listen. And your validation will be revealed right in front of you. And that's all the devil's doing. Because he knows this is all it takes to get your attention. That's all. That's nothing. Just look at where you were 6 months ago. Take in consideration where you were 2 years ago. Who am I talking to? And you actually think God didn't have anything to do with it? Now, I also understand this. There are going to be some people that right now, you have a spiritual root in your system and you are harboring pain. And that pain is so deep and runs for a long time. And it is revealed in your presence, in your actions. When in actuality, all you want is to feel emotionally safe. Who am I talking to? That's all you. Why are you dreaming about a good night's sleep? Who am I talking about? Taking those sleeping pills, taking a little nightcap just to relax or get your mind right. You keep telling me so. It is just a behavior that, or a ritual that I've done for so many years. Without it, I don't see life any different if I tried to change that. But let me throw this at you. Your problems are the people you keep your company with. It is like trying to place a circle in a square. You've been trying for a long time. You've been trying. You've even changed the way you see and convey your actions. Because you have convinced yourself that if I add a little wit to my approach, it'll give me what I want. But you also know that it's not what you need. So that is all in vain. But you're saying to yourself, well, Gerald, if I didn't change the way I made my approach, I would actually have to do more work, because then that means I would have to be authentic. Well, your life is authentic. Your actions is no different than someone taking a cubic zirconia and trying to compare it to the diamond you are. Why are you settling? Because of what the outer perception is? But yet, behind closed doors, you weep. You wept for so long, there is no tears. You've even used this as a response. My hands are washed. I got no cut cards. I got nothing else to give. It is what it is. That is nothing but you running away from what you need. So when are you going to get out of your own way? When are you going to take accountability for you? Because the truth of the matter is, nobody can make you do nothing. There must be a concession. I don't know why you keep trying. You've been doing this for a long time, and I know you're tired. I know you're tired, but you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and the face has changed, but the pain, the pain, the pain. That is like the friend you got. That's the friend. That's where the loyalty is. And you say, it'll be better tomorrow. Why tomorrow when it can be today? Don't you deserve better? Don't you? I think you do. Because until you decide to claim that for yourself, them bad dreams won't go away. Who am I talking to? Them nightmares ain't no joke, are they? Dreaming of words that you wish you could have said, actions you could have done. What stops you? Fear. Don't you realize when it comes to fear, that is the first line of defense the devil uses? Because where fear is, doubt lives. And where doubt lives, denial is the neighbor. But if you decide to stop running from yourself, breathe, breathe, your blessing will be given. How do you think wisdom is acquired, family? Wisdom is not given, it is earned through time, through investment. The greatest investment you'll ever know, the greatest story you'll ever be a part of is you. Can't buy that in the store. You can't snuggle up to someone thinking that they are your forever. They're not. I know some of y'all are going through this. You're thinking, when will the day come when my last name changes? Your last name will change when the day you decide to claim your life back and let that little girl be seen. Your respect will return, King, when you decide to take on the responsibility of your last name, not measure it by what is found between your legs or your wallet. Not everybody's supposed to know your story, family. Not everybody is supposed to be able to have access to your dreams. Not everybody is going to earn the right to walk with you. Or more sadly, not everybody is going to be able to have the ability to see what is most sacred about you, and that is your breath. No. But if you want to live your life as what's seen on TV, good luck with that. But don't be surprised. The ending is not going to be what you think it is. Now let me shift gears, because what I really want to put out to, to somebody, because a lot of people don't understand what's going on. See, right now, we are focusing on the wrong things. Your number one priority is you. Your actions is what defines your legacy. And right now, there are a lot of people out there that want you to see a certain perception and compromise your grace. We're talking about your self-respect, your moral compass, which is nothing but the illustration of your spirit. So what is going on now? There is a deliberate offensive to regurgitate division. But here's the irony of it all. Just as I always use the metaphor of the ant and the grasshopper, there's a blessing in what's going on if you choose to see it. You said, well, how's that, Gerald? Because you've got a lot of division and there's a lot of splintering going on in our society. We are spending more time worrying about who's sleeping with who and who is seen with who, and we're not even thinking about our babies. We're not even thinking about the world we're going to leave them when our time is called. I'm a firm believer of this, family, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to need about 2 minutes. Hate, it is not a trait that is given to a born child. Racism is not inherited, it is taught. And it is taught because fear, yes, that word fear, has dominion in that environment. And it's a tragedy and a travesty, because the example that we are setting for those who are going to walk behind us is very selfish. We're not even taking in consideration of the examples that are being set. If anything, if you are in your 30s or in your 40s, you should already realize, look at where you were when you were coming up and what was illustrated, and take in consideration that you are in a pivotal place to break spiritual chains. You know them soul ties? Mm-hmm. You think it's bad luck. No, it's not. It's not bad luck. It's because you have chosen not to do anything. Now give me a second, because I got to use the restroom, and I'm going to turn the corner about this video. And I hope that the intended heart and intended mind hears me. And if you're feeling what I'm saying, share it. Just like all my videos, they're made of love. Each one teach one, family. Have we forgot? Give me a second. One sec. All right. Thank you for your patience. All right. Now this is where I turn the page. And I'm gonna bring some awareness to you. Some of you already know, some of you don't. Now, as you already know, the main the main thing that's been going on uh, for the last 3 years has been more or less fear based. And if you go back 3 years, you saw that a lot of people were starting to feel, were allowing their insecurities to overshadow their logic. And you saw how, from a governmental standpoint, our civil liberties were being challenged. Someone posed a question, and then all of a sudden, like a wildfire, you started seeing in a town near you, in a city near you, people running to go to these these gun shows because they had posed the question of, well, you can't have this type of ammo and you can't have this type of weapon, and you better get it while you can. And what happened? Everybody, they lost their mind, and they went to those gun shows and they bought up everything they could because there was a timeline that if you didn't get it before a certain time, you wasn't going to be able to get it. So basically, they were locking down the loopholes. But no one took in consideration of this. If you don't have security for yourself in regards to your decisions, how can you protect anything that you think is sacred? And what happened? Crime went up. You saw a heavy, heavy amount of firearms being stolen, being put in the hands of our babies. And so in turn, what happened? A lot of kids lost their lives due to being irresponsible. And all that did was cause another cycle of fear. You notice you don't hear anybody from a governmental platform, and this is not a slam with those that are put in the position to represent us. It is not. But what I found that was so ironic was as we're worrying about fear, we're not doing anything for our babies. Because when you turn around, schools are closing. Funding is being cut. And that is nothing but a domino effect for opportunity for things to go awry. Here's my point. Look at where we are now, 3 years ago. We as a community, as a society, are more divided than ever. We hear people talking about they want change, but no one's sitting at the table to hear the views. You hear nothing but a lot of chatter, a lot of what we call white noise, distractions and deflections, no ownership, but it still has an influence on what? How you spend your money, how you spend your time, who you associate, and who you stay away from. Not one time do you hear anyone talking about what would God do? And here's a reason why I'm saying that. We fast forward. There's still our babies coming up missing every day. It doesn't matter the melanin of your skin. Just go to your local Walmart and look at that wall. Just turn on the boob tube where you get your daily digest of bad news. Someone's son was murdered today. Someone's husband's not coming home. Someone's mother was brutally assaulted. So what is going on now? It is breeding a community that will embrace an eye for an eye. How about in vigilantism? Why aren't we talking about that? We've gotten so conditioned to say what we feel, but not take the time to understand why we feel. So what is going on now? Deflection. Because I've had people ask me about what's going on with the NFL. Number one, I'm not an NFL player. Number two, I work for a living. Number three, I place God first in everything I do. And number four, everything in my home is prayed upon, prayed over, and the individuals that lay their head every night. The reason why I'm saying that is because there's an underlying banter going on. You don't believe me? Just turn on the radio. Listen to what they are conveying. But like sheep grazing in a foreign pasture, the digest, the bowel that comes from being acclimated in that environment is seen in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you, every day. So you're wondering why I'm conveying this. I convey this because you deserve to have the life of your dreams. But you got to be willing to do the work. You have to be comfortable in your own skin. Find comfort in being able to say no. So what is going on, family? The ant and the grasshopper. That season is alive and well. See, we can get distracted on the bad behavior, the negativity. And some people will not do anything and just take what is being offered, only to regret it down the road. But I'm going to tell you this, though. The good thing is those people that have a relationship with God, and you know if you do or if you don't, those people will be protected. Just like back in the scriptures, when the angel of death came and they told those people that had the firstborn sons to put lamb's blood over the door seal, and the angel of death would spare them. Metaphorically, when you think about it, those people that were spared, it was because of the lifeline and the purpose that had to be fulfilled. Some people know it as prophecy. So let's go back to regular times. You have people that have platforms, even here, that say what they would do and not doing nothing. They're just watching you digest, laughing all the way to the bank. You think they care about your well-being? No. Why? Because you got to do the work. You have to decide what matters most. You've got to give a damn about your everyday. So we are taking time to embrace deflection now. You've heard more rhetoric on the boob tube, on the radio. And let me say something about that radio. You do understand that radio is the most used means of communication than anything that man could put out, especially on AM. You'd be surprised what you hear on AM, especially a lot of these talk radio shows. But what is more amazing, if you want to look at it from a social litmus test, a climate survey, listen to what is being conveyed. Listen. Because trust me when I tell you this, those who do not have your best interest, they're listening to what you listen to. They're watching how you respond. And they're taking note to the things that you refuse to do. Some in the military world know. Some of my veterans know very well. We know this as intel. But what is being disseminated is nothing but propaganda to divide you from what matters most. Because the people that are able to make decisions are not going to make decisions for you. They're going to benefit from it. They're going to benefit from what you don't do. And as long as you stay distracted, as long as you deflect, as long as you put your ego and pride in front of you, more of the same will come. So I can't convey it any more than I've had. If you don't have a relationship with God, He's there as He was there the moment He gave you the breath of life. And if you want to look at it from a literal standpoint, it's about your last name. It's about those who paved the way before you. If anything, look at your life right now. Does it give honor to your grandmother, your granddad? How about that uncle that you are real close to? How about that auntie that was always there when you needed it? Are you honoring them? Because guess what? One day you'll be in those ranks too. Because we do not know we do not know the time nor the moment that we're going to take our last breath. We don't know that. And for us to place our life and everything we've done in a 2-inch hash, your birth and death date, that's got to matter. That's got to matter. But if it don't matter to you, it's not going to matter to them. So I'm going to bring this to a close. Because while that ant is persevering, while that ant is doing the work, while that ant is preparing, that grasshopper is playing. That grasshopper thinks life as what they know it will always be. You got to decide which one you are. I mean, you need a literal example. I know somebody's like, I kind of understand, but I don't understand. Just ask somebody that was caught up in those hurricanes. Just have a conversation with them. Because look at, if they knew that they were dealing with what they're dealing with now compared to where they were the day before, you think they would have made some provisions? You think they would have changed some things up? Because there's a lot of people that are very humble right now, which goes back to that scripture again. Those who are last shall be made first, and those who are first will be made last. Why? To teach you what humility is about. It becomes a doorway to the real you. Sometimes you got to go through something to see what was there the whole time. Who am I talking to? You waiting for that sorrow to go? You ready? Forgive yourself. Give yourself permission to love you more. It's okay to say that word no. Because that word no does not mean forever. It means under review. If it's not of your standards, why do you accept it? Because the people that have access to your life already know that until you are able to embrace your voice, they're going to keep doing what they've been doing. And that's sad. So, not to go off on a tangent, one of the things that really got me upset It's because there's a blatant denial going on right now too, because you're watching the media spin this whole position of our beloved United States flag with the financial and monetary connection with it. And for some reason, I don't understand, as technologically advanced as a country that we are, the United States that is the fact that we have the internet. And even those who use Wikipedia, you know, for some reason don't really realize the whole reason why NFL player Colin Kaepernick took a political stance. Now, I will say this. His actions were admirable. I think he could have did it a little different. This is not to discredit him at all. He was trying to bring awareness over our babies being killed. But here's the funny thing about that. Even though the media will always show a minority with tape on or a canvas bag over them on the street, there's just as many as people that look just like you that had to deal with the loss of a loved one. But now it's all about what? The dollar. So now you've got people that feel a certain kind of way because they say, well, you know, I turn to watching sports as a distraction. Basically, that's what they're saying. Why is it that we have politics in it? And they have taken a position to put a video up here of them taking their hard-earned money and with a ritual, burning it. You know, you work hard for your everything you got and you're burning your money. And they're surprised that from the National Football League's stance, they haven't done more. Why don't you just fire them? Why don't you do this? Why is it that we don't have funding for public education for our children? Why is it that your neighborhoods are still not safe, even if you're in a gated community? Why is that? Why is the fact that you have just as many that are strung out on opiates than you did when the crack epidemic? What about that? Why aren't we talking about that? Because somebody profited from it. And just as everything is put out on the airwaves, someone's got to sign off on it. So there's an agenda there. But what is sad about that is everything that you see, God ain't nowhere in that. So my point is this. Don't get caught up in the bad behavior, the negativity. They even had a story on, I think it was Yahoo this morning, where a police chief in, I think it's Pennsylvania, felt so passionate and decided to voice his opinion on social media and lost his job because of using a derogatory term. But here's the irony of that as well. You're watching more people take a cowardly approach instead of a logical approach. If you don't understand what's going on, why isn't it your responsibility to invest to find out? Why won't you sit at the table? What you're afraid of? You might learn something new, or you admit that you were wrong. But right now, family, them gun sales are still going up. You know what? Actually, your highest consumers for gun sales are women. Because they were running an agenda that, oh, you don't have a gun, you're going to get sexually assaulted. Yes, someone's going to steal your purse, break in your car, jack you. But not one time do you hear someone say, hey, why aren't you aware of your surroundings? Why aren't you making logical choices in your day to day? Because they don't care about that. They don't care about that. And in a boardroom somewhere, there's a bunch of people sitting around a table laughing at the profit shares of your distraction right now. They're saying, see, I told you. We'll run this ad right here. Because they're eating it up. They're eating it up. I remember there was a day when you had a problem with the issue with someone. You had the integrity to question it. We don't do that anymore. We're allowing people to take a cowardly approach, a condescending approach. To do what? To impact and rob your life of the peace of mind that it deserves. We have to do better, family. Oh, yeah. Because you have some people that think that this is the 1920s, the 1930s, the 1940s. And you see it all the time. Got them pickup trucks and got them flags flying. Only thing that's missing is a cross. But this does not excuse the bad behavior in your community. People that look just like you. You think they care about your community? How about those students that should be educating themselves on that hard-earned money that you saved to send them off to school? They're up there acting amok, not worrying about their GPAs. They want to tear things up. And usually 9 times out of 10, they're not even from your community. They're not there to put a brick in place. They're there to pick a brick up and throw it through a window. All that falls back on you, the consumer. And here's the funny thing, and I'm going to shut my mouth. You notice we haven't heard anything about them statues? Huh? You know, our history? Yeah. You know why? Because the light bulb finally went off up in Washington, my beloved home. That's right. That's where I was born. And someone realized that, hey, yeah, it'll be my tax dollars that will have to pay for that guy's hourly wage to move it, to pay for the fuel, to drive that machine. I'll have to pay for it. And they stopped it. The point I'm trying to make is this. There's a lot of people that don't have a relationship with God, and they don't want you to have a relationship with God, and they don't care how that brings unrest to your house. Will you lay your head? You know why? Because they believe in appropriations for martial law. While you keep going around shooting people, driving, why is it on the highway people are doing 80 miles an hour? Using those high beam LED lights so you can't drive home safely after a hard day's work. Why are they doing that? I remember one time in my life when I was stationed in California, Northern California, matter of fact, between San Francisco and Sacramento, and they told me on the first day there, this is well over 20 years ago, they said, look here, there are gangs here, and they got this thing, lights that they flash them, and if you flash them back, or if you see somebody and they got their headlights on and you flash them, you become the target. And look what's going on now. People are driving with like a bat out of hell, driving with their cell phone on in one hand and steering wheel out the other. And guess what? The vehicle accident rate has tripled. Who's behind the wheel? Our babies, our moms, our dads. Because usually it's the one that all they want to do is go to work, earn their wage for the day, and go home. So don't be fooled, family. If there's anything to be learned out of this whole thing, God's giving you an opportunity to witness history. And he's also giving you the opportunity to see those who wants to change it. That's what's going on. There's a lot of people want to rewrite history for man, not for what God does. Why do you think God repeats history? Because that's God's way to man to say, did you learn the message? Do you understand what you're seeing? He wants to afford you the right to gain wisdom from those who have come before you. The choice is, will you watch? Will you listen? Will you be protected? I know some of y'all say, well, I work with a bunch of them like that, Gerald. But guess what? They're doing you a favor because they're being comfortable in their own environment to reveal the real person. And guess what? Don't give a pass to those people that look just like you, that are related to you by blood and bone. God's giving you an opportunity to make a choice. Do you be still or do you stand with them? Remember, it's your legacy. Be blessed.